Hello everyone, welcome to the series of VMware vSphere. In this session, we are going to perform some basic labs together going to VMware Hands-on Lab. If you remember, we have created an account in VMware website and we have registered for VMware Hands-on Lab. So going over there, we will be performing the labs. Just to recall, in our last session, we have deployed vCenter server and we have seen vCenter server management console access, how it works, and what is the difference between vCenter Server Appliance login and vCenter Server Appliance Management Console login. The same thing very first we will perform in our hands-on lab so that you will be able to perform the same thing since you haven't got a chance to deploy vCenter server. Just you can see it. If you have a high-end machine, you can do it because in our VMware hands-on lab, you can perform the lab from the basic level to the very advanced level, except the installation of the ESXi host, which you have already done through a simulator I have given to you. First thing. Second thing, over there, vCenter server appliance is already available. It is already deployed. So that is the reason I have shown you in my home lab. But yes, apart from that, each and everything from the scratch you can perform in the VMware hands-on lab. So very first we will be logging into the vCenter Management Console and we will understand in brief about the vCenter Management Console. Then we will be assigning a free license key to ESXi and we will see how to remove the free license key from the ESXi by taking the login of the ESXi host in VMware Hands-on Lab. Okay, this is not the licensing session. In the VMware vSphere licensing session, we will be going in detail about assigning the licenses, different type of licenses, each and everything we will go in detail, and we will be performing a hands-on lab also in the licensing session. But over here, I will just give you a brief how to assign the free license key and how to remove the free license key from ESXi because it is a basic lab. Okay, we will be logging into the vCenter server. We will understand the navigation of the vCenter server because it is the vCenter server only on which we are going to do a labs from the basic level to the very advanced level. We will be creating a data center. We will be adding the host, creating the cluster. We will be creating a folders. Then we will be looking after the ESXi maintenance mode, why it is required, what is the importance of ESXi maintenance mode, and before we conclude, we will look after the lockdown mode and we will understand in detail about the lockdown mode. So let's quickly go to the browser to log in into our VMware hands-on lab. So in the browser, I will type VMware hands-on lab 101, and you can do one thing. See, this is the link you have to open. And over here, you can do one thing, guys. You can just bookmark it. So every time you don't have to come over here and log in. And every session, I will not be taking a login in front of you. I will be logging before so that we don't waste time in this login again and again. So just to recall, you have created an account. You will say, I have an account. Click over here. And we will log in using the registered email address. And as I have informed you earlier that the pop-up blocker should be disabled. If you have kept it enabled due to any of the reason, then in that case, what you have to do every time it will give you a notification over here. Pop-ups were blocked on this page. You have to click over here. Just say allow pop-ups for this site and done. Then thereafter, just press Control F5 and your lab will load. The recommended practice is keep the pop-up blocker disable, but due to any reason you cannot disable, then this is the procedure you can follow. You will get a notification pop-up block, just allow it, then press Ctrl F5 and your lab will load. Now, as informed earlier also, I will repeat again, this lab by default is for 1 hour 30 minutes. You can extend it and take it to 9 hours, and I believe that 9 hours is much more to perform your complete VMware hands-on lab. Additionally, I would like to say that if you end the lab, then when you will start again by logging in into the VMware website for the hands-on lab, you will be getting a fresh lab. You cannot save anything and keep it over here. This each and everything in detail we have already discussed, so I will not repeat again. Let me maximize the screen and we will begin with the lab now. So over here, I have already informed you about the notepad. Over here, you have the credentials, the username and password for the ESXi hosts and the vCenter server appliance. We will just open the browser over here, and what we are going to do is, by default, the home page is open, which is vCenter server. Let me show you from the again. Let me open the new tab. Okay, you will type over here VCSA, and you will see one link is opening. Right, delete this UI from here. Okay, very first we will be logging into the vCenter server management, and for management, the port number is 5480. After this URL, you have to say colon 5480 and hit enter. You will see that the username and password field is auto filled. Okay, it's somewhere outside over here, and this login will enable for you to login. So this is the vCenter server management. Even in my home lab, you have seen this, right? This is the summary of your vCenter server appliance. Then you can monitor your CPU and memory disk, network database. You can provide the SSH access, CLI access, everything from here. The networking option is there. The firewall option is there for you. Time, you can just do it from here if you want to change the time or anything. And over here, there are lots of services running. So in our future time, when we will be doing advanced level labs, we will be coming over here and we will be restarting, start the service, turn off the service from here as and when required. As per our lab requirement, we will be working over here. You have an update option, administration option you have. So the name implies very much, and you can understand that administration means you can just password settings and all. Syslog option is there, backup option is there for you. And apart from that, these all things we will be doing in the advanced lab. In the same series, we will be performing all these things, we will be using all these options. But for just now, I am giving you a brief about the vCenter server management. Then going to action, you can reboot the vCenter server appliance, shut down, create a support bundle, and so on. So what I'm going to do is, I will just open the new tab, I will close this tab. This was a brief about the vCenter server management. I will logging into the vCenter server itself now. Okay, you can see this bookmark vSphere web client. Just click over here, and you can just click on login. The username password field is auto filled. Okay, you can click on login over here, and this is the vCenter server appliance, basically the dashboard of your vCenter server appliance. And you can see that this, in this vCenter server appliance, you can see ESXi 1, ESXi 2 hosts are already added. But over here you will see ESXi 3, right? This is not added, right? So very first, what we will do is, we will perform a basic lab on assigning the license to ESXi. See, in the production environment, the hosts are added. I will tell you, and then the keys you can assign in bulk. This thing in detail we will understand in the licensing session, where we will be doing an advanced level on licensing. Okay, but now I will just show you how to add the license in ESXi. You can add a license in ESXi also. You can add the license from the VMware vSphere also, and you can add in bulk also. Like, you will be assuming that now I am showing you for ESXi 3A. If you have 100 ESXi hosts, will you be adding one by one? The answer is no. That we will be doing in the advanced lab, because that is a discussion about the advanced lab. Over here, I will show you how to assign the free license key to ESXi. What I did, the new tab, I have clicked in this bookmark, see, ESXi 3A, and this page has opened for me. Now, for ESXi, let me repeat again the thing which I have showed you earlier. Open this readme text, and over here you will see that administrators for ESXi host. Username will be root, and this is going to be your password, VMware one exclamation, where VM is capital. For vCenter access, administrator at vSphere.local, and the password is VMware. The password is same, VMware one exclamation, where VM is capital. Similarly, you have Windows VM password and so on. So now I have taken the password for ESXi. The username is going to be root, and the password I have copied. Click on confirm. Paste the keys over here, okay, and login. Due to incorrect password, let me type it. Enter. I think I have not copied it properly or something. Okay, so we are into the ESXi 3. over here I will show you how you can assign the license to the ESXi host. Okay, over here you have host, and what I'm going to do is click on manage. You will come to licensing tab over here. I have some free license key with me. So what I am going to do is I will just open that key very first, and this key I will put in the description box as well. Okay, I will just copy this. I will click on assign license, and I will put it over here. Click on check license. It will check the license authenticity. It is saying license key is valid for VMware vSphere 7. This key I will put in the description box also. So even you can perform the hands-on lab, how to assign the key, how to remove the key. Click on assign licenses. Before that, I want to show you one thing. Let me cancel this. This is VMware vSphere 7 enterprise license key, and it is giving you the expiration date also. See, Saturday, December 30, 2023. And this all other features. Again, I will show you. Click on assign license. Just paste the key which I have. I will give you in the description box. Check for license. It is authenticated. It is saying okay. License key is valid. Click on assign license. See now, the key which I have is a free key. And we have discussed in our initial session that the free key is valid for lifetime. See, expiration date is never. But the problem with the free key is you will not get any feature. Right? So you can see all the features which were there disappear from here. Right? So this key disadvantage is you cannot use the advanced features, and as soon as you applied the key, all the features has disappeared from here. Now we will remove this key. Click on remove license. Are you sure you want to remove the license? This is the license which we have put. Click on remove button. And again you can see all the features are available for you. So we have practically proved that the free license keys which are there, although they are free for lifetime, but they cannot be used if you want to have the advanced feature. The free license key will not work, and this is justified over here. So we are done with the assigning the free license keys and removing the free license keys. Now coming to our vCenter interface, the very first thing what we are going to do is we will learn how to create the data center. See, over here, this is the vCenter server appliance, right? You are seeing this region when usually the concept in vCenter is inside vCenter, very first you have to create a data center. Like, see, if you have a rack, if you have a servers, everything in the physical environment, where you will place, you will not place in your office, right? You are going to place these things in the data center. Similarly, in the vCenter also you have to create a data center very first. Okay, so you can see this is a data center. Then over here you are seeing that this is the cluster. Everything we will do hands-on lab. Okay, now just forget about this virtual machine. This we will discuss later in some other session we are going to discuss, because this time we are only going to do a basic labs. Very first we learn how to create a data center. Just you are seeing this VCSA01 vCenter, right? Click over here and right click over here. Click on new data center. See, always you will create a data center inside the vCenter. Okay, so click on new data center, and name you have to give. So I will give Noor Labs DC. Click OK, and you can see that my new data center is created, right? See, my new data center is created. I have click on expand button, and I cannot see anything because there is no cluster, nothing is there inside. So we have created a data center now. And remember that inside the data center you cannot create any, I mean you cannot add any ESXi host. The ESXi host, now right click over here. Sorry, not in data center, in the vCenter directly over here. If you right click, You will not find the option to add host, because in vCenter directly you cannot add any host. You have to create a data center, and inside data center you can create a host. Okay, what we will do, this is the ESXi 3 host, right? This particular host we are going to add in our data center. So to add that, what we will require is, one requirement is we need the FQDN, and the FQDN for ESXi 3 is ESXi-3a.corp.local. We don't need HTTP also. Okay, this much we need. So this much, just copy it. I have copied. Now come to your vCenter server appliance. And over here, what I am going to do is, I will be adding the new host in my data center. Right click on your new data center which you have created. Click on add host. Over here, it is asking you host name or IP address. Okay. Just put the, sorry, it is not coming. Okay. I will just go again over here. I will right click and copy, and I will paste it over here. So now it has come ESXi-3.corp.local. What is the location? We are already getting in node lab DC, which we have created. You can give any name. Okay. Next. Connection settings. Username, it is asking username is root, and password is VM capital WARE 1 exclamation. Next. Now it is giving you the host summary, the name, vendor, and everything. Okay. Click next. Assign license key. We already have the license key with us, right? So we will be assigning the license key, evaluation license. Okay. We will assign this license key. Click next. Lockdown mode. What is lockdown mode? We will understand in the same session, but not now, at the end of the session. Okay. Because this is again a new concept. Just understand that there are three lockdown mode: disable, normal, strict. If you can understand something over here, it's good. If not, then I will be explaining you in detail. See, disable means your lockdown mode is disabled. Okay. Normal is something the host is accessible only through the local console or vCenter server. Strict means the host is accessible only through vCenter server. The direct console UI service is stopped. This we will do it practically, everything. So for now, just keep it disabled. Okay. And click next. VM location. This is our inside node lab data center. Click on next and finish. Now what you did, you have added the ESXi in the data center, the one which we have created now, right? Now, two things we have covered: how to create a data center, virtual data center, and how to add a host inside your data center. We have seen that you cannot add a host directly in the vCenter server. You have to create a data center, and inside data center, host is added. The data center means virtual data center. Now, the third thing we will see, how to create the cluster. The cluster is created in the data center. Okay. Right click on the vCenter, you cannot find the option to create cluster, right? But you right click over here in the data center, you will find option new cluster, right? Click on new cluster, and we will give the name Noor Labs cluster. Okay. This all option for now, just forget it, because we are going to perform this high advanced lab and then we will understand. Click on OK button. Now what we did, we have created a cluster with the name Node Labs cluster inside data center which we created. Before we move further, let me show you one more thing. Just come to ESXi 3 host. See, you can see the state is in maintenance mode. Your ESXi 3, your ESXi 3 host is in maintenance mode. What is maintenance mode? This also we will understand, but to understand this, for here we will be just going in brief. See, maintenance mode means no VM must be running on ESXi. Now in the production environment, usually what happens, if you want to do any kind of maintenance activity, you will put the ESXi in the maintenance mode. But in production environment, what will happen, lots of VM will be working, right? So for doing the maintenance, if you need to power off, will you turn off all the VMs in the production environment? No, since the requirement is the putting the host in the maintenance mode, the requirement is no VM must be running. Now let's go over and see VM. There is no VM over here, right? But basically, the maintenance mode means no virtual machine should be running in the ESXi. Okay. Now you will have a question in production environment. If this machine you want to do maintenance and you are doing you're putting in maintenance mode, the requirement of maintenance mode is no VM should be running. If any VM is running and you try to put it in maintenance mode, it will not go. So how you will achieve that? You have to do the maintenance also, and at the same time the VMs also should be running. The option is very simple. You will perform vmotion. Now you have ESXi1, ESXi2, ESXi3. You want to do a maintenance on ESXi3, for example. Very first, if you will try to put in maintenance mode, it will not go. It will say that VMs are running. So in production, you will not turn off the VM. What you will do? You will do a vmotion. You will migrate the machine from ESXi3 to 1 or 2. And once the machines are migrated, no VMs are there. You will just put it in maintenance mode and it will go. Now the question is, the shade it is showing maintenance mode. First thing. Second thing, you can see the symbol yellow color. See the yellow color, yellow black strip is there. This is also a notation that ESXi host is in maintenance mode. This is not the case with ESXi 1 or 2, right? So this symbol also notify that it is in the maintenance mode, or else if you go to summary and you will see that the state is in maintenance mode. So how you will remove this from maintenance mode? Come to ESXi 3, right click over here. Okay, click on maintenance mode over here and say exit maintenance mode. Once you exit from maintenance mode, it will say state is connected and no more it is in maintenance mode. Even that yellow black strip went away from here, right? So let me repeat what we have done till now. We have created a virtual data center. Inside that, we have created a cluster. We have added the ESXi 3 into our newly created virtual data center till now. Okay. We have discussed about what is cluster, right? The cluster is like a group of ESXi host. In VMware term, it's called cluster. If you group a ESXi host in one group, in VMware term, it is called as cluster. So we have created a cluster, right? Now we will see how you will move the machine into the cluster. Now see, if you click over here, you can see that expanding this data center, inside data center you have cluster, but inside cluster there is nothing. And inside the data center you have machine. Now you have to move this machine to the cluster, right? So you can simply drag it. Very first option is to drag it, or as the second option, you have this. You can just right click and you can say add host, and you can add it from here also. But the easiest way is the ESXi3 will move this into the cluster. Move it, drag it over here, it will go. Now see, this you can expand, right? See, this is expanding, and inside the cluster you have ESXi3. What we did, we have removed the ESXi3 from the maintenance mode and we have put it in the cluster. Now ESXi3 is in the cluster node labs cluster. Now we will try to remove this ESXi3 host and we'll again try to put it in the data center, for example. Let's try to put it. It is not going, right? See, we'll try to drag it over here. It is not going. What it is saying? One or more hosts are not in maintenance mode. Enable maintenance mode, then remove the host from the cluster. If the host is not responding, disconnect the host from the cluster and add it to the target location. Okay, what it means? See, when we have added the ESXi3 host in the cluster, it went easily. Now you want to remove this host from the cluster. It is not allowing you to remove. What it is saying, that if the machine is running, then you cannot move it out from the cluster. So to remove that, what you have to do, you have to put this machine in the maintenance mode again, and after putting this machine in the maintenance mode, then only you will be able to remove this machine from the cluster, I mean outside the cluster, I will right click. We will say maintenance mode, enter maintenance mode, and click OK. Once you put this machine in maintenance mode, see it is in maintenance mode now. Now you try to remove it, drag it out, and put it in the data center. It went. See, now this is not in the cluster. This arrow, if you will see, whatever is expanding, it is under that. No, under node labs, you have cluster, you have ESXi 3 host running. If this machine would be inside the cluster, this you would have expanded and it would have shown you, right? So now it is not in cluster, but it is again in the node lab data center. So just add a note that when you try to remove host from the cluster, it must be in maintenance mode. Okay. Now we will see something about folder concept. Right click on the data center over here, and there is an option new folder, right? Click on new host and cluster folder or something, or else you have option over here in the cluster also, right? We'll see first over here. So you will see option new folder, and you can say new host and cluster folder or new network folder storage. So let's say new host and cluster folder. Sorry. Click on new folder, new host and cluster folder. Give the name new labs folder. Okay. So just add a note that folder is just for managing your network components, your VMs, your host. It doesn't have any technical significance. What is the concept of folder in PC? To manage your files, right? Similar concept is over here also. So I will just remove this machine now from the maintenance mode, which we put to remove it from the cluster. Okay. Now let's do one thing. This particular machine we will be putting inside the cluster now. Okay. Sorry, inside the folder which we created now. Put it over here. To drag it, and now see, once you expand this, you can see this ESXi3 is inside the folder. Similar how we removed it from cluster, we will try to remove it from the folder now. Okay, put it in the data center again, and it went. See, it went outside the folder. Over here, it doesn't require to be in the maintenance mode. When you were removing the machine from cluster, it asks you to put the machine in cluster maintenance mode, but over here it doesn't ask you to put in the maintenance mode, right? So why this happened in the folder? It doesn't ask you, because folder doesn't have any technical significance. The features like HA, DRS, it doesn't work on folder. But in the advanced lab, you will see that the concept like HA, DRS, vmotion, svmotion, all things you need to enable it on the cluster. This we will learn in the advanced lab. It is just for security, but cluster is a group of hosts where features like high availability, load balancing, DRS features are configured. We will see in the advanced lab. So now the question comes, this is a data center created. It is a virtual data center, right? If you want to remove it, just click over here, right click over here, okay, and click on delete button. Deleting a data center, also delete all the data center alarms and remove all the data center host and virtual machine from the inventory. Delete this data center, yes. You can delete the data center. If you remove the data center, nothing will go down, okay? Only your management will not work. Only your management will not work. Means you have added this ESXi3, right? So now you can not manage ESXi3 from the vCenter. Remember, it was a virtual data center which I removed. But also remember that in your physical data center, you have a physical host and VMs are running in it. So nothing will go down. Just you won't be able to manage your ESXi host. As I tell you, centrally you won't be able to access ESXi host from the vCenter. And the features like HA, DRS, load balancing won't work. But never try to remove this virtual data center from the vCenter in your production environment, because if you try to remove this data center from the production environment, considering my session, you will say that no, the no networks has shown we can delete the data center, so I will try it in production environment. If you try to remove this virtual data center from the production environment, you will be physically removed from the organization. So never try this, okay? Just to show you that yes, data center can be removed. For the lab purpose, I have shown you for just for the knowledge purpose, but never try this in production environment. Now let's come to the lockdown mode before we conclude this session. So guys, what is lockdown mode? We will be doing this on ESXi 1 or ESXi 2, okay? So let me take you to the ESXi 1. Now, when you were adding the host, at that time it has given you the option, okay? At that time you said, okay, disable it. Now let me do one thing, not on ESXi 1. You may be falling in doubt that what will happen in ESXi 3 then. Let me add ESXi 3 also. So what I will do, this the region A where I have ESXi 1 and ESXi 2. Again, I will add this add host. So you will again have a revision how to add the host. So the host name and everything we have copied earlier. So this is the host ESXi 3 we are going to add now. Click on next button. Username root, password VM capital WARE 1 exclamation. Next, next, next. For now, keep it disabled, okay? But let me give you a brief. See, what is lockdown mode? There are three modes in lockdown: disable, normal, and strict. Basically, this is a security setting of your ESXi. Now you are managing the ESXi host from the vCenter, okay? If you keep disable, if you keep disable, if you go over here in the ESXi, basically what is this? You can restrict the direct access of ESXi. What is the job of vCenter server? To manage ESXi host. Now let's take a practical example. You have a manager in your office, and under manager there are engineers working. Now if someone from the outside want to reach out, he will be reaching out to the manager, right? If he or she want to do any kind of changes in the IT production, as per the company requirement, they will be reaching out to the head of the IT, to the IT manager. They will not come to the engineer directly, because you have a head over there who is managing the engineers, right? If it comes to the engineer, then what is the purpose of the management, right? Similarly, over here also, if you say disable, what will happen? You will be able to access the ESXi host directly. And now if you do some changes, then in that case, the manager, what is the role of manager then? No role. So basically, the good practice is either go with normal or strict. So if you say disable, then you will be able to access your ESXi host from outside. Okay. If you go with the normal, then what will happen? The access to the ESXi host directly will be blocked, and you can access the ESXi host only from the vCenter server. And third is strict. Acha, one more thing. In normal mode, if you select normal mode, you will be able to access from the vCenter server. At the same time, you will be able to access from the DCUI, direct console user interface. But if you select strict, then you will not be able to access the ESXi host from directly also and from DCUI also. Then only one option is left. You can manage it through the vCenter server. Let me repeat again. If you select disable, you can access the ESXi from outside. You can access it from DCUI. If you select normal, you can access it from vCenter. You can access from local console, that is DCUI, but you cannot access directly from the browser. The third option is strict. In strict, you cannot access from the web GUI. You cannot access from the DCUI. Only you can manage through the vCenter server. We will test one by one. Now let's keep it disabled. Now one question will come to your mind that ESXi deployment we haven't done over here. It is a VMware who has given us the ready-made platform. Then how we will get the DCUI access? You will get it. It is a suspense for some time. I will open it. Let's click disable over here, and we will continue with adding the host. Next, region A, default. Next, I will explain you in the coming session. This is the basic lab. Okay. Next, finish. What we did, we have added ESXi. Okay, we will be doing a lab on this only. So ESXi 3 is now managed by the vCenter. Now, and one more thing, this ESXi 1 is there, then why this is different and all this question if you will have, I will explain you everything. Don't worry. Now we will test the lockdown mode. You have added it from there. Now if the machine is added, in future you want to do some configuration changes, that also you can do. So what you have to do is you have to go to configure, select ESXi 3A, click on configure over here, okay, and then clicking on configure over here, just scroll down, okay, and scrolling down, come to security profile, okay. Over here you will find an option lockdown mode. It is saying lockdown mode disabled because we have kept disabled, right? Now let's try to log in. ESXi 3A root, and the password will be VM capital WARE 1 exclamation. You are able to log into the ESXi from the web. The second question comes, how to log into the DCUI. See over here you have a console, right? Click on console. Okay, we have ESXi 2 only over here. There is some limitation as I told you, but at least VMware has given us the DCUI for ESXi 2. Okay, we'll do a lab on ESXi 2, no problem. Okay, let's do the lab on ESXi 2. Over here you have ESXi 2, no problem. Go to configure, then security plus. Similarly, lockdown mode is disabled. Let's verify. What we will do, instead of this three now, you will say okay, enter. You are into ESXi 2, right? See, root and password is VM capital WARE 1 exclamation. The VMware has given us the access of DCUI for ESXi 2 only. So we will do a lab on ESXi 2 for the lockdown mode, no problem. Now you are able to access ESXi 2 from the web GUI. Let me take you to the console. Go to ESXi 2A. Once you click here, you will be into the DCUI of the ESXi 2A. Okay. Hit enter and the full screen. I'm not able to view the full page, so I will just minimize this. Okay, you can see F2 to customize. Press F2. It is asking for login. Username is root. Password will be VM capital WARE 1 exclamation. Hit enter. So you are able to log in, right? Escape to log out. We are able to log in to the web as well as to DCUI. Now let's go again to the main console and we will test the second mode of the lockdown. Go to vCenter in ESXi 2 security profiles. Click edit button and we will now choose the normal mode. What is normal mode? You won't be able to access the ESXi from the web, but you can access from DCUI. Let me log out first from here. Okay. Now, normal mode, right? Okay. What we did, we have changed the lockdown mode to normal mode. Now come to ESXi, okay? Refresh and try to log in. Root VMware 1 exclamation. See what it is giving? Permission to perform this operation was denied. Why? Because we have enabled normal mode, normal lockdown mode. In normal lockdown mode, direct access of the ESXi through web will not work, right? But it will work through DCUI. Let me take you to the console again, and what we will do over here, we will just try to log in, and it should log in now because the normal mode is enabled. F2 password I will put VM capital WARE 1 exclamation. Hit enter. We are able to log in. Escape. Log out. Go to main console. And in main console, now what we are going to do is we will be changing the lockdown mode to strict mode. Click edit. Choose the strict mode. Click OK. Now what you selected? Strict mode. Let's try to log in from here. Root is there. Password VM capital WARE 1 exclamation. login. Cannot. Okay, let me put the password again. Permission to perform this operation was denied. Why? In strict mode, web access of the ESXi not allowed. Direct access of the ESXi not allowed. Let's test the DCUI mode. Come to the DCUI of the ESXi 2A, and we will just press F2 to login. What it is saying, direct console access has been disabled by the administrator for ESXi 2. Why? Because we have enabled strict mode. So, summarizing the thing, for the lockdown mode, we can say that in the disable mode, everything is open. You can access the ESXi directly from the web. You can access the DCUI of the ESXi host. In normal mode, the web access of the ESXi host is disabled, but yes, the DCUI access is enabled. And in the strict mode, the web access is also disabled and the DCUI is also disabled, and only you can manage the ESXi host from the vCenter. So what things we have done, starting we are we have taken the login, we have seen the vCenter server appliance management interface, then we have logged into the vCenter server appliance. Before that, what we did, we have taken access of ESXi host 3, we assign the free licenses keys, and we have practically justified that if you apply the free license key, all the feature will disappear. Then we remove that free license key from the ESXi host. Then logging into the vCenter server, we have seen how to create a data center, what is the purpose of data center. Then we have added the ESXi 3 host in the data center, we created a cluster, we moved the ESXi host into the cluster. We have seen and discussed about the maintenance mode, that no VM should be running is a requirement for the maintenance mode, for the ESXi to put in the maintenance mode. Then what we did, we have moved that ESXi 3 host which we added to the to the cluster. Then thereafter we tried to remove that from the cluster, but we have seen that it has given an error that in the running mode, the ESXi host cannot be removed from the cluster. We need to put it in the maintenance mode. So what we did, we put it in the maintenance mode and removed it from the cluster. Then we have seen the concept of creating a folder, and additionally we have seen a difference that the folder doesn't have any technical significance, so we can add the machine ESXi host in the folder, or we can remove it from the folder. But this is not the case with cluster, because over the cluster we have some advanced functionality that we will be enabling, like HA, DRS, and so many features. But folder doesn't have any technical significance. We don't enable any features over the folder. So if you put it or if you remove it, it is just for the management purpose, as you can manage the files in Windows. Similarly, you can manage the networking components, VMs, host in the folder. That's it. Then we have seen about the lockdown mode, different types of lockdown mode, and what are their functionalities, what are their importance, and so on. That's all, guys, in this session. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please subscribe it now and do share with your friends. Thanks for watching and see you in the next session.